Okay, if you are in Math 8, we are working from course 3. If you are 7 Excel, we are working in the Advanced 2. So 7 Excel, Advanced 2, Math 8, course 3. We are doing lesson 1.2, example 3, and we are on page 13. Okay. So let's talk distributive property. You learned about the distributive property when you were in 5th grade. You learned about it in 6th grade, and you used it in 7th grade. So let's refresh your memory. 2 people go to the movies, and they each want to buy a drink, and they each want to buy popcorn. So 2 people go to the movies. They're each going to buy a drink and they're each going to buy a popcorn. So we have 2 times the number of drinks plus 2 times the number of popcorns. This is the distributive property. And it's all cool when we're using pictures from movies, but math isn't always about pictures. Sometimes we use these funny things called numbers. So let's apply this to numbers. So 2 people go to the movies. Drinks are $1.50 and popcorn is $3. So 2 people are going to buy drinks. This is 2 times 1.5, which will give us $3. Then 2 people are also going to buy popcorns that are $3. So 2 times $3, which is positive 6. So this right here is the distributive property. Now, how does that apply to what we're doing? Solving multi-step equations. How does the distributive property apply to that? Well, let's find out. 2 times 1 minus 5x plus 4 equals -8. Okay, the very first thing we want to do in this problem is distribute. So this is 2 times 1, and that will give us 2. And you can even write positive 2. Now we need to multiply 2 times -5x. We need to finish distributing. So this is 2 times -5x. And 2 times -5x is -10x. Then everything else comes down. Now, yesterday, we talked about combining like terms. So I need to combine my like terms. I have positive 2 and positive 4, which is positive 6. Then everything else comes down. Now this should look like what we did on Monday. We need to isolate this variable, but first we need to undo the addition and subtraction. So to undo positive 6, I need to subtract 6. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Okay, these guys cancel, and I'm left with -10x equals, I have a negative and a negative. So remember, the negative ninjas like to combine forces with negative ninjas. So we're going to add them together. but they will still stay negative ninjas. So we're going to add them together and keep the sign. Now, this should look like something we did last week. I need to undo times -10. So to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide by -10. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So these cancel, and I'm left with x equals a negative and a negative is positive. I can reduce this, and I get positive 7/5. Well, I can leave it as positive 7/5. I can make it a mixed number, or I can turn it into a decimal. All three of these have the same value. Positive 7/5 is the same thing as positive 1 2/5. And it has the same value and is equal to 1 4/10. So any one of these would be acceptable. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. Okay. -3 times x plus 2 plus 5x equals -9. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. This is -3 times x, which will give us -3x. I need to distribute my second number. So this is -3 times 2. And -3 times 2 is -6. Everything else comes down. Now I need to combine like terms. So I have -3x and positive 5x. I'm going to subtract, and I am left with positive 2x. Everything else comes down. Now I need to isolate the variable, but I need to undo this -6. So to do that, I'm going to add 6. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. Okay. So these guys cancel, and I'm left with 2x equals. I have a positive and a negative, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of my largest number. Now I need to isolate my variable, but I need to undo times 2. So to do that, I'm going to divide by 2. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So these guys cancel. And I am left with x equals -3/2. Now, -3/2 can be written as -1 1/2, or it can be written as -1 5/10. All three of these have the same value. So any one of those three would be acceptable. Okay, so when we look at this, the first thing we did was distribute. Then we had to combine like terms. After combining like terms, we needed to undo the addition and the subtraction. Then we needed to undo the multiplication and the division. So that is what is going on. Let's do another problem. 5 plus 1 5/10 times 2n minus 1 equals 5/10. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute. So this is 1 5/10 times 2n. Esperanza, I need video on, please. And this is equal to 3n. Then I need to distribute. And I've got 1 5/10 times -1. 1 5/10 times -1 is -1 5/10. Then everything else comes down. 5 plus 3n minus 1 equals 0 5/10. Now I need to combine my like terms. So 5 minus 1 5/10 is 3 5/10. It's positive. And everything else comes down. Now I need to isolate the variable, but first I need to undo my addition and subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 3 5/10 from one side. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. These guys cancel. I'm left with 3n equals, I have a positive and a negative, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of my largest number. Now, I need to isolate my variable, but I need to undo the multiplication and the division. So to undo times 3, I am going to divide by 3. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. So these guys cancel, and I'm left with n equals -1. Okay. Okay. Before we get started, there is one problem I want to set up with you. One problem on the homework that I want to set up with you. Okay, and that would be the postcard problem. The area of the postcard is 24 square inches. What is the width, B, of the message in inches? So here's our postcard, and the whole area is 24 inches. Okay, we know we are on page 15, number 15. We know that area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the width. The area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the width. This is telling us the area is 24 square inches. So my area is 24 square inches. My length is 4. And I need to multiply that by the width. And the width is b plus 3. So area of a rectangle is length times width. The problem told us the area is 24 inches. And then in the picture, we can see that the length is 4 times the width, which is 5 plus b plus 3. Okay, so I'm not going to solve that problem for you, but I did want it to set that up before we started homework.